Hello, and welcome to BIA's Leading Local Insights podcast, your go-to spot for staying ahead in the dynamic local advertising marketplace. You'll hear BIA's top experts and their distinguished guests break down the trends, technologies, and innovations reshaping local media. Plus, you'll frequently get highlights from BIA's U.S. local advertising forecast. Thanks for tuning in. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to BIA Advisory Services Leading Local Insights podcast. My name is Celine Matthiessen and I'm the VP of Insights and Analysis here at BIA. Today, we're diving into the world of digital out-of-home advertising. Out-of-home advertising, or DOOH, as digital out-of-home advertising is part of it, is a space that's been evolving fast and growing in advertiser spending. We're thrilled to have Dave Rivera, VP of Channel Partnerships at Vistar Media, here with us. If you're advertising, you already know Vistar's name. They've built a powerhouse tech backbone for how companies buy, sell, and manage campaigns on digital screens, pretty much everywhere, as out-of-home and digital out-of-home is everywhere, right? Welcome, Dave.
Hello there, Celine. Thanks for having me on the pod.
Well, thanks for coming. Besides you being here and being a rock star in digital out-of-home, what's the real headline? T-Mobile is acquiring Vistar Media. So let's start with that big news. What does this mean for the future of out-of-home and Vistar Media?
Yeah, absolutely. This is huge news. T-Mobile, it's the best network in America. They have great data, insights. They have a great customer experience. They also, which a lot of people don't know, they operate a physical network of screens in their store. So they know out of home. So it's a really good marriage there. The other thing is they're one of the biggest marketers out there, right? T-Mobile does a ton of brand marketing. So they're leveraging that expertise, that scale, making best-in-class products for themselves, and then bringing those to other marketers. And I think that's really powerful. We're looking to add a lot of value to the advertising industry with that.
Yeah, they have a name for their in-store network, right? That T-Mobile has. Is it like pink or red or something? Wasn't it? Or is
The
that
Magenta
old?
network.
The Magenta network, yeah.
Yeah, everything, as I'm learning, everything is magenta around here.
Magenta. Yeah, well, it's a good color, right? Anyways, so how will this integration capability play into your new partnership with T-Mobile, and what should partners expect going forward? What exciting news do you have for them?
Yeah, I think a lot of our partners and our customers, they expect things to work, right? And that's what they should continue to expect. Excellent customer service and products that are built to last. And that's not going to stop. This is just more power and more engineering resources towards that vision and that goal that we've had for a while.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about 2026. We just released our new update of our BI forecast, and out-of-home advertising, it's growing at more than 3% a year. And even the growth is expected to jump 5% between 25 and 26. And for digital out-of-home, which now makes up 42%, I couldn't believe this, of all out-of-home spending, it grew another 3% last year alone. So why are brands putting more money into out-of-home and digital out-of-home? And what can marketers do about it? What can they do to benefit from it?
Yes, Celine, these numbers are great, but in my view, out of home and digital out of home still aren't getting their fair share. So in 2026, I think it's estimated now that $400 billion is going to be spent on advertising. Digital out of home is about $4 billion. It's about 1%, right? This is the oldest format of media. This is where there's a huge opportunity I saw the stat where they estimated up to 30% of the programmatic marketplace is fraudulent, right? So you have $100 billion going to programmatic advertising on the internet, and they estimate up to $30 billion of that is going to bad actors. So in my view, going to marketers is maybe there's a reallocation, right? Maybe there's a reset that we need to do. And maybe that $30 billion that's going to maybe nefarious websites or robots clicking, maybe that should be reallocated to some tried and true marketing mediums like out of home. And that's what we're really saying to the market, and that's where we think the opportunity is migrating some of these dollars that maybe aren't working, maybe are going into fraud or, some type of other capability that's not impacting your brand. How can we use out of home, the oldest form of media, to really get that message out there for brands?
Interesting. Yeah, and for out of home, there's all sorts of new product types that are out there because I seem to see for digital out of home, I seem to see a lot more screens and different unique screens to catch attentions, right? And so there's a lot of opportunity with that.
Yeah,
Great.
no, absolutely. I mean, we get a call every day of somebody that is deploying a screen network. Digital in out of home is fairly new, right? These
Mhm,
screens have been around forever,
mhm.
but the cost of putting up a digital screen and maintaining that's gone down over time. So we're starting to see these out of home placements that have traditionally been, vinyl or some type of static paper. Those are being converted to digital. And that's why you're seeing that growth in digital. Programmatic's also helping because we're able to take budgets from potentially other media channels where they weren't getting the most bang for their buck and allocating that to digital out of home.
Great. So let's bust some myths. People often say that digital out of home is just for brand awareness, right? Not for getting people to act. So is that fact or fiction?
In my view, this is fiction.
Mhm.
I think about out of home as a conversation starter, right? When people go to the search bar, they already know what they want, right? They're typing in, I need this, right? Like I need a plumber or, my AC is not working. So they know what they want when they come to that search bar. Out of home is a great way of telling people where they should go and what they should be looking at. So, and not only that, when people are exposed to digital out of home after, they take action. On average, when we're running campaigns, we see an increase of 80% across search. So when people see it, they'll go and search it. We also see higher engagement and conversions from their performance marketing because when people see these ads, they're more willing to engage with them when they see it on social, on display, on CTV, and it really drives them to commit an action. So I would overall say that digital out of home is not just for brand awareness, it's driving that conversation home and impacting those other channels, which you're seeing a lot of that performance come from.
Wow. Yeah, 80% take action. That's incredible. So now let's zoom out a little. People are glued to their screens all day at work. We're seeing this that, people want to unplug, and there's like a big trend in the news too about unplugging when they're out and about. How does out of home and digital out of home cut through the noise?
Yeah, totally. And I'm one of those people.
Hmm.
I just listened to this podcast where they were talking about people taking social media fast and it changes the whole way that they look at everything. And as humans, we want to experience life. We want to get out there. We want to hike. Like, I want to ride my bike. I want to go snowboarding. And out of home is right there along that journey. It's at the airport, it's at the gas pump, it's on your drive. And it's not this intrusive, interruptive ad experience that you get on some other mediums. People are in a great mindset for a conversation when they're going on these trips, right? They're typically ready to make purchase decisions. It's a
Hmm.
really good time to reach people when they're in this positive mindset and they're thinking about these decisions that they might want to make. So I think it plays really well with getting people off their screens, getting them out and about. We know these screens are not helping us. I say to my kids all the time, right? If these devices made us smarter, we would be geniuses by now. And I haven't seen that, right? There's
Right.
not that evolution hasn't happened. It's just really taking time away from the human experience. And out of home really plays along with that human experience. It's woven into that fabric.
Mhm. Well, let's get real world for a second. I actually have a story, case study, but I also want to hear yours. So my daughter works for a museum, and one of the things they did this year for marketing was they took out a digital out of home ad on the main highway that comes into where the museum is, which is a vacation area. And they have had such great uplift because they've been, asking about where did you see us? And people say, well, we were coming in, we didn't know what we wanted to do. And we saw your museum sign and we checked you out. And so she was telling me the other day that they're probably going to do another one a little closer into town now too that we have because they've had such great experience with it and bringing in new people that didn't even know they existed, which is incredible. So can you give me some other, that's a local nonprofit, um, case study, but can you give me any case studies that stand out for you with your clients?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give you one personal story, and then I'll
Mhm.
give you a case study about how we've really made some impact in the local space. So, I remember when I was growing up, my dad and I would take road trips down to visit my grandparents in North Carolina, and there's this place in South Carolina called South of the Border. And I remember our drive, these mile markers for this place, they for me were like a distance. How far away are we from the destination we're going to, right? And I vividly remember this marketing campaign. I can envision the boards. It had like a big gorilla with a sombrero, and every mile it was
Oh,
like
jeez.
88 miles to south of the border, 87 miles to south of the border. And
Uh-huh.
I even begged my dad to bring me there one time because I was like, I have to go see this place. So it did drive us to go there, but I've remembered this campaign my entire life, right? That's the type of impact that this has had on me and that out of home has on people, right? When you're driving home, these become parts of your daily life. So we have tons of case studies showing how out of home helps brands, but I think there's a huge opportunity with our channel partners in the local space.
Mhm.
Most advertisers, especially in the local space, today they're not buying out of home. They're not even thinking about it as a mainstay in their media mix. And that's a huge problem. And it's a gap largely due to education.
Mhm.
In the local advertising space, there's over 100,000 sales reps. They're selling radio, they're selling newspaper, they're selling TV, but in out of home, in the local space, maybe a few thousand, and I'm
Mhm.
probably being generous there.
Mhm.
So for broadcasters, whether it's radio or TV, newspaper, their legacy product is shifting, and it's not their fault, right? It's due to consumer behavior. Our habits are changing. When I grew up, my mom used to read the newspaper. She'd have it out all day on the kitchen table. She'd be like haggling with the paper boy. That doesn't happen anymore, right? Um,
Right.
and right now, there's an opportunity for these organizations to replace some of that revenue that's shifting by adding digital out of home. And what we found is it's a fairly high product, a high margin product for them compared to some of the other products that they sell. I've seen, single digits on search or display,
Mhm.
whereas, a lot of the customers we're working with on the channel side, they're marking up the media, they're taking 30 to 50% margins. And that's impactful for their business, right? They could hire more journalists. They could get people in the newsroom. And one example that stands out for me is a longtime partner we have out of Pittsburgh, Steel City Media. At their core, they're a radio group, but they do offer a full funnel marketing experience for their clients. We started working with them in the pandemic, I think it was like 2020. And within 6 months, their team generated 400 RFPs for digital out of home and closed 25 deals. And
Wow.
they're probably running around $1 million out of a couple cities today. So that's the opportunity I see there where you could really grow this and create a whole new marketing channel for a lot of these local organizations that can become potential channel partners with Vistar.
That's great. So yeah, so that's opportunity for marketers. Any final thoughts? Um, you know, uh, what else is in the future? What should they be looking, forward to, or what's the easiest um, transition for them? I know digital out of home and out of home measurement is a lot like digital, so it's easy for them to show the success, correct? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, we could definitely show success in really interesting ways. But I would say it's not easy, right? And I've found like you don't always make a huge impact doing something really easy. There is a little bit of a lift when it comes to education, But
Mhm.
once you have that education up front, when you train the sellers at these organizations, when they're going out to their clients, it becomes a no-brainer for
Mhm.
most of these advertising clients. It's just today they're not having a conversation, right? If you went into a local marketer and told them they could get on these huge billboards and screens in their community and really reach people that are in their, in their local space, I think a lot of them after that 15-minute conversation, they say, "Oh yeah, totally. I want to do that." Today, the conversations just aren't happening at
Mhm.
scale. And that's what we really need to change is how can we educate the market so they know that digital out of home should be a mainstay and it should be a part of their media mix.
So, all right. So, sum it up. If you're a marketer, what's your case for digital out of home?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one, it's the oldest format of media. It's battle tested, right? I go to advertising conferences all the time, and the backgrounds of the slides are like Times Square. It's what we use to describe the advertising industry as out of home. It's got massive scale. It's a non-intrusive buying experience. The price points are great. It's fraud free. It increases engagement across all performance media. And the real question I would have for a marketer is, do you want more effective media? And my guess is the answer in most of those cases would be, yeah, we totally do, right? So
Mhm.
that's really what we say to folks that ask this question.
Well, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your data, thoughts, and insights and case studies. We always appreciate and value your time with us. And for everyone out there listening, thank you for joining us as well. I invite you to learn more about Vistar Media at vistarmedia.com. We hope you are enjoying our podcast this year. And if you have any topics you'd like to suggest or want to come on as a guest, reach out to us at podcast@bia.com. We look forward to bringing you more insightful conversations on local media throughout the year ahead.
Thanks for tuning in to the BIA Leading Local Insights podcast. Stay a part of our community by subscribing so you never miss an episode. And we want to hear from you. What topics do you want us to dive into next? Email your ideas to podcast@bia.com.